Hello, viewers. Thanks for watching my podcast. My show gives Miss America fans and volunteers the opportunity to get to know title holders. I would like to encourage you to please click the subscribe button so you're aware of when I post my shows, and also click the notifications bell. Quickly, I want to thank my sponsors who help keep my show going. Donna Field Award, Thomas May, Daryl Presley, Sandra Gray, Renee Brown, Stanley Taylor, Scott Benton, and Carolyn Medina. If you would like to donate to my show, you can donate to my GoFundMe. It's a link online, and then also my Cash App is $JTROBIN. My guest today is Miss America 1988, Kaye Lani Rae Rafko Wilson. Kaye Lani, thanks for being on my show.
Yes.
I'm so excited to have you. The Miss America community is so excited to have you. Peggy Clapp said, my absolute favorite Miss America. Simone Savoy said, my favorite Miss America. Jolie Mayo said, she's my favorite. And Pamela Von Hawk said, she is hands down my favorite Miss America. So you are very loved in the community. People love you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I'm so happy you reached out.
Of course.
This will be a fun Saturday afternoon conversation, and I love all of our wonderful Miss America supporters and those people that just continue to support myself and all of my sisters, and we love you all back. So it was one of the most exciting times of my life, and I'm really excited to share some special stories and my wonderful experience. I feel it was such a great blessing and a wonderful gift. So
cool. So my first question is, could you tell us about your background, your childhood, and then how you got involved in pageants?
Sure. So I was born and raised in Monroe, Michigan. And, I'm the oldest of 4 children. I have a sister, Kimberly, who's married, living in Staten Island. My brother, Nick, he attended the University of Wisconsin and was killed in a car accident back in 1994.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Thank you. And my youngest brother, Paul, lives next door, and he's married with 2 little kids. And so being the oldest of 4, it was a bit challenging. My dad owned and operated his own truck and auto parts business.
Okay.
And at that time, my mom wasn't working. So when I was accepted into the nursing program back in 1981 at St. Vincent Medical Center School of Nursing, they had sent the first semester bill. It was $750. Okay. And I had grown up like going and attending the pageant, Miss Monroe County, the local pageant or program, off and on throughout the years. Okay. And I had been a dancer since the age of 8. So I had done a lot of recitals.
Cool.
But when I got that first semester billed in nursing school, it didn't include my books or the room and board. It didn't include Lord's College. I would attend for all the science and the psychology courses. Yeah. And I remember getting that thinking, how am I going to pay for this? Yeah. And, my dad is a single business owner, and my mom wasn't working at the time. We immediately went to the local bank down the street and got a student loan. Okay. But I knew there'd be more and more. Right. And so it was probably right before high school graduation, when I was accepted and received the bill, that I opened up the paper and they were looking for contestants for that summer for the Miss Monroe County program. Right. And the winner would get $750.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, oh my gosh. Right. that would take care of one bill. Yeah. But what was so wonderful about it, Jason, and a lot of programs do this, especially local, was that even if I didn't win, I still walked away if I was able to place with something. Yeah. So, when you're looking at back then, nursing school, the books alone, the first semester were over $300,
wow.
Back then in 1981. And I remember my medical surgical nursing book being about 3,000 pages. It was like this big. Yeah. But, I thought, I'm just going to try it. I had never been in any other pageant program. I had never competed in a pageant. Like I said, I had done some recitals, and I thought, I'm just going to try this and see what happens. So I was young. I graduated from high school in June of that summer. Of 81, and I became Miss Monroe County of 1981, crowned just like maybe 2 weeks before college started.
Wow.
And so I remember probably 5 days after my crowning, I received a receipt in the mail saying that my first semester at St. V's had been paid in full by the Miss Monroe County Scholarship Program.
Nice.
And
very
that
nice.
really felt great. I still needed student loans to balance things out.
Yeah.
But as all of your viewers know, I mean, it starts at a local level.
Yeah.
And then you earn the chance to compete at the state level.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a whole year later that I competed for Miss Michigan in 1982 as Miss Monroe County of 81. And again, it was a big, huge surprise. I mean, I went there not expecting much. There were girls who had competed many years, but I went there, had a great time, and ended up second runner-up at the age of 18.
Nice.
And immediately the judges who were there, you know, came up, and there was a group of them. And I remember that year Katie Lou Pennington won, and she was 25 years old, and she had gone on mission trips, and she's just an amazing woman. And, you know, it seems like all of the pageants that I competed in, I walked away learning something, and not just about who I was as a person, but there were a lot of great teachers. So I was really, really blessed in almost every program that I was in to learn something from someone else. And I didn't have any of this backstage stuff that we talk about, that sometimes you have that real competitiveness that I just never really experienced that. I was so blessed because I am still friends with so many people that I competed with through the years, and especially my group that I was with in Atlantic City. I mean, we are a tight group. I mean, we have our own Facebook page, and we stay in touch with each other. We support each other. I mean, it's not uncommon that I just am like, you know, oh my gosh, I accidentally call, you know, my Miss Delaware, or, you know, my Miss Oregon called me the other day, and she was like, oh my gosh, I was calling someone else, but I was meant to talk to you, Kaye Lani. And so Tam's like, hi, how are you? So, I mean, I was really blessed because I competed for over 6 years. And to have those wonderful experiences in over 14 competitions is really a great gift, to just be able to walk away always feeling that, wow, I had so much fun, whether I came home with a crown or not. So,
I think you're kind of answering my next question, because you said it took you like 6 years. You know, I sometimes I know girls kind of give up, or, you know, there's that, should I do it again? So what gave you the stamina and the mindset to just continue?
Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. For me, it was all about money, honey. For me, and I feel bad in saying that, but it really was. But there were other things that I received, not just scholarship, because I didn't win every pageant I competed in. There were many times I placed, and then there were some times I didn't place. But it was nice to strategically choose programs or pageants to compete in that if you didn't win the crown, you still came home with something. So I'm really, really proud of my local program here, Miss Monroe, because it has grown so large in terms of scholarships that even the girls who don't place, there's so many opportunities, like the most ads sold, or I mean, there's a medical scholarship, and now it's like it really provides that even if you don't place, the non-finalists walk away with maybe a $500 scholarship just for showing up. And in addition, if they're attending our local community college, they turn around and get us, you know, another $500 to show up for that semester that they can pay for. You know, I mean, it's just the scholarships are just amazing. And that's why I continued. That's why I continued to do it, because I needed the money for school. And then the other thing that was important to me is I continue to grow as a person. And I don't mean that, you know, I mean, I know that we hear this from everybody, but my communication skills, my techniques, everything got better. And my self-confidence and my self-esteem, and just everything got better. And again, I was blessed with a great group of, you know, candidates or contestants, fellow contestants, that there was such a wonderful friendship that was formed with each competition that I went to. So when you're thinking 14 pageants in 6.5 years, you know, I didn't win every one. It took me 4 state tries. You know, the first time placing second runner-up at Miss Michigan, it was, you know, back then there was one open pageant in the whole state, and it was Miss Hart. And you had to get up and move, or wherever, you know, if you wanted to go. And I lived in Monroe. I attended college in Toledo, Ohio. So I decided to get a little bit more scholarship money to help offset, you know, the burden of college, financial burden, and decided to run for Miss Toledo. And I ended up winning Miss Toledo in 1983. So it gave me a little bit more scholarship to help with that and balance out the extra student loans I needed to get. And then in 84, I did not place at Miss Ohio, but it was a state program that provided scholarships for non-finalists. So I was able to, get a little bit of cash through that. And I wore the same wardrobe. So I didn't invest a lot in my wardrobe or get a new gown. I had the same gown for 6.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So with the exception of my first pageant, I had that gown. And then once I started with Miss Toledo and that, I had another gown. But the third trip was back to Miss Michigan as Miss Hart, the only open pageant. And I placed first runner-up to Kelly Garver. It was an amazing friend of mine. We had, met with our first pageants back when we were 18. And she won Miss Michigan that year and ended up third runner-up to Kelly Cash.
Oh.
And, Kelly Garver, she was a fiddler, and she was just an amazing person.
Right.
And so when I finally finished, I told myself, listen, I'm done with this. My loans were just under 6,000.
Mm-hmm.
And I had graduated in 85 as a nurse. I was working midnights. And, the pageant preparation is, it's a huge commitment. And even back then, now I think today it's even more so. It's a huge commitment to prepare. And back then it was too. I mean, it was hard for me to juggle midnights as a registered nurse working in oncology, hematology at St. B's. I wanted to get back to school and further my education, gain a little bit more in terms of nursing background. Mm-hmm. And my love was always hospice. It was working in oncology. I just was drawn to, worrying about those who didn't make it off my unit. Mm-hmm. And if they did, they went home to pass away. And I always worried about their families. And so when I looked into it back in 85 and 86, my local hometown didn't have a hospice program. And I really was trying to focus on getting that going for Monroe. I felt it was so important, and it was something that people deserve to have as an extension of healthcare when technology and medicine failed them. And when you're working on a floor in oncology, we celebrated all those great successes and the people who walked off our unit in remission. And it was really, really exciting. And I remember the big, nowadays they ring the bell when the last chemo is done. And, mm-hmm. But I just remember how it just filled our hearts to be able to just clap and applaud as they were being wheeled out to go home because they were in remission.
Yeah, and I just wanted to interject. You were talking about how scholarship money was so important to you. Sure. I just wanted to interject how the Miss America organization is the number one scholarship provider for women.
Amen.
And that's why one reason we should definitely, support Miss America and keep it going. I have a video of your crowning moment, and many people say that it's their favorite crowning moment. Like, you seem so emotional and everything.
I was pretty shocked.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to play the video for the viewers. Okay. And then I want to ask you, what were you thinking and feeling in that moment? So here is the crowning moment of Miss America 1988, Kaye Lani Rae Rafko Wilson.
I am Miss America, Kaye Lani Rae
Okay, so do you remember what you were thinking and feeling in that moment?
Of course.
Okay.
Well, people can tell I don't even react till I get to halfway through my name, and it's a long name to get through. And I'm like going, oh my gosh, that I was so excited that I made it to top 10.
Okay.
That I felt everything else is just icing on the cake.
Right.
And I felt the warmth of the crowd, and I really told myself that, oh my gosh, you've made it to Miss America. Uh-huh. And it could be any one of us.
Right.
And I just thought, I mean, whatever happens, I'm very faithful. And I said, this is up to God.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, it's up to God, because I really can go through my book and everything and say, every one of those women I was with that year would have been a fabulous Miss America. I mean, people always talk about the level of talent that was there. And these women were just so incredible. I was just so blessed to be a part of such an amazing class of state representatives that it didn't even dawn on me. I just was like, oh, wow. And I'm looking back and forth and I'm trying to think, okay, and it was really unique too, because as a swimsuit winner, there were only 3 preliminary awardees that made it to top 10 that year.
Okay.
And there were, 2 talent winners made it and 1 swimsuit. And the other talent winner did not make it in top 10 that year. And 2 other swimsuit awardees didn't make it in top 10. They probably could have had easily like a top 30 that year, because it was just really, I think that was probably very, very close. But walking down that runway, I've got to be honest, Jason, and as exciting as it was, and I knew my life was forever changed. And I knew I had just lost my day job to my fellow colleague, because I had worked midnights, and they said, when you get back from Miss America, Kaye Lani, you want the day position because, Melba retired. And I went, yeah, when I get back, I'll take the day job.
Right.
And I walked down and went, I lost my day job.
Okay, so this question is from Miss America 1995, Heather Whitestone. She said, what is the most strange experience you had during your year of service as Miss America, and what was the funniest experience?
The most strangest and funniest.
Yes.
Probably could be the same thing. I remember, and I think it was Memphis, Tennessee, a very special place. I loved visiting Memphis. And I think it was Memphis. I was heading off to the airport, and the guy was wonderful. He washed the limo. It was beautiful, sparkling clean, but it was a little chilly that day.
Okay.
And so when we got to the airport, he went to open the door, and all the doors were frozen shut.
Oh.
So I could either climb through to his front seat or open the moonroof.
Okay.
And there was a line of about five people from the press ready with pictures and that. They knew it was Miss America. I just finished a 2-day stint in Memphis. Okay. And I remember climbing through the moonroof.
Oh.
And and I've got pictures and everything. I should have brought the picture out so I could show you. And I climbed through the moonroof, and they helped me down, and I was able to check in, but my travel companion, I'm trying to remember if it was Ellie or Anita, were like, we're not going through the moonroof. So you better get out a hairdryer and start heating up this door. And I just thought it was a fun thing to do. And I jumped out, and I was like, woo! And I climbed down. Trying to be careful with my skirt, but it was just so funny, and everybody applauded like, what a good sport, and I thought, I'm not waiting in the back here. I'm going to go out there and visit, and we're an hour and a half before a flight, and I'll just, sign some autographs and talk to people. So there are a lot of people that captured that. So I have to say, Heather, that was probably the strangest and the funniest thing that happened to me that year.
Right. So you are credited with making the platform, which they now call Social Impact Initiative, a valid, bona fide part of the competition. And I think you were talking about your love of nursing and hospice and stuff.
Yes.
So can you talk about how did you make the platform like such an important part of the job of Miss America?
Well, it's hard for me. I know everyone is so sweet. It was just, it wasn't something I thought that was necessary. It was just who I was. I mean, I came as the first registered nurse to be crowned a title that was recognized by everyone in the country over the age of 5. Yeah. And I knew that no matter where she went, where Miss America went, there was going to be a crowd of people, and there were, and sometimes up to 5, 6, 7,000 people waiting to hear what she had to say.
Right.
And they looked up to Miss America. It really didn't matter what state I was from. Yeah. And it really didn't matter what town, or maybe not so much what I wanted to do with my life, but I was given a platform like all Miss Americas are. Right. And I decided to go out on a limb with the encouragement of my travel companion, Ellie Ross. who said, I was in Portland, Maine, and I remember it was my first appearance, and I went there, and the MC at this big convention center, it was like a big expo that was being held, and I was sitting at a table just going to be signing autographs and handing out free samples and visiting with the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And free samples from two of our sponsors, I believe, Clairol and Gillette.
Okay.
And they called me over and said, hey, listen, our MC for this Women's Day event, this expo, is stuck in traffic. So can you, here's a microphone, can you greet everyone and can you say something to the crowd? And I looked at Ellie. I had never had any public speaking training ever before.
Wow.
I literally had one mock interview in 6.5 years. And I just didn't have all that to go on, all that experience. Mm-hmm. And I looked at her and she said, just tell them who you are.
Okay.
And I said, well, and she said, talk to them about nursing. And I said, well, right now we're experiencing a big nursing shortage in our country. She said, just touch on that, Kaye Lani, but talk about it, because that was what I talked about in my interview.
Right.
And so I did.
Yeah.
And the number of people that came up to my table afterwards who were healthcare workers and nurses and thanked me over and over again. I remember 2 nurse executives saying, you know what, we are, we're in charge of a big hospital nearby, and we work with the nursing staff, and we just want to thank you for your words. You could truly make a difference if you just took a hold of this and be able to, maybe we're going to try hard to get you into Washington, D.C. We want you delivering testimonies on improving working conditions and federal reimbursement for, policies for nurses. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I would love to do that because, I was a fairly new nurse. I had graduated in 85, was crowned in 87. I had worked 2.5 years and my dream was to get a hospice program going. So I thought, I'm going to talk about hospice. I'm going to talk about grief work. I'm going to try to educate the people that nurses are not handmaidens to physicians, that we're probably, we're the liaison between the patients and the rest of the healthcare team. And I found out during that year, Jason, that there were a lot of people that really didn't know what the nurse's role was in healthcare. Okay. And I took advantage of the platform that was already there. And in about a month into my reign, I flew to New York and I met with our CEO at the time. It was his first year, Leonard Horn. Okay. And he said, what a great idea. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, oh my gosh, you have a platform. And I said, I still don't know what you're talking about. He said, well, just you getting out there talking about who you are, you being a nurse, you wanting to get a hospice program going, you focusing on all these issues that nurses face every day in the healthcare world, we're getting a lot of press. And this is wonderful that you have something to talk about. Yeah. And I remember over dinner, I looked at him and I said, I asked him, I said, do you think that I'm the first Miss America to have something important to say? And I laughed because I said, we've all come through this program with something important. And it doesn't have to be healthcare. It could be something that touches our hearts. And he said, we want to make this mandatory because this shines a whole different picture on what our program is doing. And it focuses community service and involvement, making a difference. And, and the impact that Miss America has on a social issue that is impacting people all over the country and even in all over the world, that she can be that spokesperson. Right. And I just was sitting back there thinking, well, all the Miss Americas before me, they've all been their own spokesperson, but it was the perfect timing, Jason. It was coming during a nursing shortage. Okay. It was being a nurse. It was going into communities where hospitals were shutting down because there weren't enough nursing staff to keep them open. And all of a sudden people were driving 45 minutes to a facility. Wow. So it, to me, it just was a perfect timing for me to be blessed with this title. Right. And so when I walked down that runway, I didn't really think about the impact I would have and how it would incorporate such an important piece of who Miss America is, the organization is. Right. Because the organization is so much bigger than one person. Yeah. It's the organization is huge. And so whether you are at a local level competing or state or national, whatever, it's, you have an opportunity to make a difference. And so grab onto an issue that's important and take advantage of it. I never felt like I was taken advantage of with this program. Never. I grabbed that crown and I ran with it. And I did the most that I could with it. And I treasured and still do every appearance I made during that year and long after. It
Right.
was, every single one was extremely special to me. And it was just a wonderful opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, we're going through a pandemic, so we know how important nurses are right now.
That's right.
And
right.
you know, and still, I just think you embody everything of what Miss America is about, the service. You mentioned earlier that you were a swimsuit preliminary winner. And as you know, the lifestyle and fitness category has been removed from the Miss America competition. So I'm just curious, what were your thoughts about the removal? Were you happy about that? Do you wish it was still a part of it, or how do you feel about that?
You know, it was so hard for me because I really wrapped around, I love the traditional aspect of it, but I also reflected on the part that, wow, I was never in a swimsuit again.
Yeah.
And I was swimsuit award winner each time I was at Miss Michigan. And then one swimsuit at Miss America. And while I love the scholarship that was provided, and it was important in terms of, you know, being healthy, and I just felt like, you know, I'm not sure I could take it or leave it, really, because I never really focused on it much during my year. But I did embrace the traditional part where we all came from that, you know, from the beginning, and the changes that Lenora Slaughter made back in the 40s, which you may or may not even be aware of, but changing from Miss America not being crowned in a swimsuit anymore and focusing on scholarships and talent. And so Miss America has always had, has always been relevant and has always kind of moved with the changes. And so it was one of those things that didn't bother me that much, where a lot of people were so upset about it, and I could take it or leave it, because living that year, I never really focused on the swimsuit issue. I really focused on nursing and hospice and Miss America being a role model, because you know, the young people today still need good role models to help guide them. So I never really thought much about it. But I'm really proud of my swimsuit award. All for it, Jason.
So I have just a 10-second video of your talent that I would like to play for the audience, and then I'm really curious about your talent, like how you chose it and stuff. So I'll play the talent video.
I'm so happy you're not asking me to jump up here and do it right now, Jason.
Okay, so for the viewers, here's the talent of Miss America 1988, Kaye Lani Rae Rafko Wilson. So I know you said you've been dancing since you were 8. Your talent
I'm exhausted right now.
Your talent was very unique. How did you pick that as your talent?
Well, I danced a number of different, you know, kinds of dances. I did like a couple years ballet and some tap, but I just, with my name Kaye Lani, I just fell in love with Hawaiian Tahitian dancing. I was 8 years old down in Fort Lauderdale visiting my Mimi and Papa, and they took me to the Maiakai restaurant. And I fell in love with the dancers. And I thought, oh my gosh, with a name like Kaye Lani, I, you know, was Hawaiian. And I came back to Monroe, and there was a local studio that taught Hawaiian Tahitian dancing. And so I jumped into it in the 2nd grade, and I stayed with it.
Cool.
And so I thought, you know, I'm going to try this Hawaiian Tahitian dancing. You know, they always talked about it's good to have a unique talent. And so that was what I used throughout the whole time that I competed in 6.5 years. It was a great way to stay in shape. I just loved it, you know, because for me, talent was, you know, showing, you know, a little bit about how difficult something was, but it was more about entertaining a crowd. And I wanted to just have the people just, you know, look at me and feel like they were in Hawaii for 2 minutes and 50 seconds. You know, now back then it was almost 3 minutes.
Wow. So, 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Wow.
Yeah. But I had so much fun. And I have to tell you that my Miss Hawaii, Luana, her mother, after I performed my talent on my talent night, which was Thursday, evening gown for me was on Wednesday, Thursday was talent, and Friday was swimsuit. We walked through Convention Hall, and we walked past a big, I mean, all the families with a big crowd of people, a big line of people, and they would go, and they'd be behind this little barrier, you know, and all clapping, and we'd be going down in the basement where they parked, you know, by Convention Center, or underneath, like underground parking. And Luana's mother or a family member, I'm almost positive it was her mother, stepped forward, and I went over and she took off her real flowered lei and put it around me and kissed me on both cheeks and said she loved my dance. And I was just like, I couldn't believe it. So, because I had never been to Hawaii. I didn't go to Hawaii until, it was my honeymoon. And in '89, and then I went back a couple other times to visit a hospital out there. But I just thought, wow, that was so cool. So people really enjoyed it. But Thursday, man, I messed up. My headdress was too high, and my poi balls hit my headdress. And I messed up my floor, but I just dropped him and kept moving and going. And I remember going, wow, I really bombed that. Thank goodness my interview went so well. But I was like, wow, I really bombed that. But fortunately, it was still up there, that it was just an entertainment factor. Yeah. And but I loved it. And every time I do my dance, people always had smiles on their faces. They really, they enjoyed it. So for me, it was just an entertainment factor, and I enjoyed doing it. I love performing my dance. Yeah.
Very cool. This question is from Miss America 2013, Mallory Heights Hagen. She said, how has your perspective changed now that you have a daughter competing? Do you look at the pageant differently, or how is it being a pageant mom?
It's wonderful. It's so much fun. But now Alana has decided she's ready to move on with her life. And I asked her, she's engaged to be married. So I'm the mother of 4. We lost our 4th baby shortly after birth, but my son Nicholas married to his wife, Lauren, and I became a grandma in August. And then my daughter Alana is getting married. She was just proposed to by a wonderful man, Tony, this past October. And then our son Joseph attends Grand Valley State University. He's 20 years old. He's going on 21. But when Alana first came to me and said, Mom, I think I want to do pageants. And I said, really? So she competed in the teen program, and it was a wonderful experience for Alana. She learned a lot about her communication skills and preparing with the interview. And she'll tell you even today that, she is 2 teen. She won 2 teen titles and then 2 Miss titles. And she'll tell you today it was such a wonderful experience for her over that period of 5.5 to 6 years. She learned a lot. It paid for at least a third of her college education with the different ones that she competed in. And she is a Miss Monroe County sister to her mom. But it was just amazing. And she said, I think I'm ready to focus on my career and, go on with my life. But she said, you know what, Mom, when I get settled and wherever Tony and I are at, I think I want to go in and help, other women who are competing, whether it's at the teen level. I want to be a part of a local program. So she too, she's followed it through, and it helped her become a better person, a stronger person with self-confidence, self-esteem, and the communication skills. And I absolutely loved being out there. Would I have rather been up there? Was I more nervous competing than sitting in the audience? No, I was definitely more nervous sitting in Mallory, watching my daughter.
You're not the only one who has said that. You're not the only pageant mom who has said that.
Oh, Mallory, no. And Mallory knows Alana because Alana just loves Mallory. She just loves Mallory. So she has, her picture with Mallory.
I think another Miss America, I think Kelly Cash was talking about how nerve-wracking it is watching your child compete.
Yes. And and the fans or your viewers would just love the fact that I have pictures at the NBC party after a pageant when Kelly's 2 daughters, Cassidy and Tatum, and my daughter Alana were dancing around at midnight, just dancing to the music and having so much fun. And I took a picture of the 3 girls that were out there, and Alana falls right between the age group of Tatum and Cassidy. So, Alana, I think she's friends with at least Cassidy and possibly Tatum on Facebook. So it's so wonderful when our girls, get to hang out together when they're able to come, and they all get to be friends over the years. So, but it's definitely more nerve-wracking sitting in the audience as a mother. then yeah.
Right.
But my mom taught me a lesson when Alana first began competing, and I said, oh my gosh, everybody was writing and saying, we're praying for her, we're praying for her. And I said, Mom, what did you pray for when I competed for 6.5 years? and she said, well, it's not good to pray that you win. It's good to pray that you do your best, and that the judges see your heart.
Oh, wow.
That I prayed that, she said, I prayed, Kaye Lani, that you would be able to put your best person out there and show them who you were. And that I prayed that the judges would be able to, that you would be able to show them your heart.
Okay.
Because if they saw that, they would know if this is, who they needed in this position.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, Ma, that's a really good prayer. So I started saying that instead of saying, please, I hope she wins.
Right.
But it was just that, have her feel good. And I think she, I always wondered if she felt the pressure. She always reassured me that she didn't.
That's cool.
But I often wondered, because she too is a swimsuit award winner at Miss Michigan, and at Miss Monroe, and she's been to Miss America many years,
right?
Many times. But I often wondered. I thought, did she ever feel the pressure? But she always said, no, I'm just doing my own thing. And she says, the pageant's different today than it was years ago. So, and we're all different. The competitors are different. The candidates are different. But she said, Mom, you told me, just go in and enjoy it. If it's supposed to happen, it's supposed to happen. And she too selected programs that would provide some scholarship to help her get through college.
Right.
So she has the similar mindset. But anyways, it was a lot of fun, and I know that she'll probably, wherever she settles, she'll get involved.
Right. I think I might only have maybe 2 questions left.
Wow.
So the competition has changed, in the last few years.
Sure.
And now it's the 100th anniversary coming up. Can you tell me some things that you would like to see at the 100th anniversary Miss America competition?
Well, let me see what I'd like to see. I hope a big group of us can all get back together. There's been a lot of challenging times with the sisterhood, with a lot of divisiveness, and
oh wow,
and I love them all. Jason, they're just they're all so special. I'd love to be able to I couldn't go this past December. Last year I couldn't go.
Yeah.
And because we had a memorial event, and I'm the director of Gabby's Ladder Grief Center. We had a memorial event. I wasn't able to go, but I'm anxious to just really enjoy us all getting together in a room and spending time and kicking off our shoes and just kind of renewing our sisterhood and our bonds that just kind of bring us together with the crown. The crown's just an object, but we all contributed to helping create what Miss America organization is all about, which is a lot bigger than one person. It's all of us. It's everybody who's competed. They all make a difference. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. And in 100 years, when you reflect on that, some of my most favorite memories, just recently, I had a young woman reach out to me to thank me via Facebook Messenger. And she said, I'm shaking as I write this, but I met you, Kaye Lani, when I was in grade school in the Bronx.
Oh, okay.
You came that first week to help us paint our school. And you and I were featured. The newspaper guy took a picture.
Yeah.
And I just want to tell you that meeting you and hearing you speak encouraged me to go into nursing.
Wow.
And today I'm a travel nurse in Arizona.
Oh, wow.
And I'm so proud of that, we never know who we're going to affect or change or direct or guide.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, just was such a great year that when this young woman reached out to me, it just validated that I really did the best I could with my year.
Yeah.
And all those years later, 33 years later, here I am. And I'm getting messages from people all over to say, I remember meeting you. I remember you took the time and you sat down and talked to me after the loss of my father. I'll never forget this. And I'm like, sometimes it's hard for me to find those messenger requests and I have to go back to a certain thing and open them up.
Yeah.
But it touches my life because I thought, oh my gosh. And I want to say, you know what? I remember that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And Jason, I remember that little girl. I remember grabbing the back of her hand
Uh-huh.
and looking at the camera, and I had a hat on
Yeah.
and looking at the camera and helping her paint and have her look up at me and smile with these big, beautiful brown eyes.
Right.
And I'm like, you know what? I remember you. I remember you.
Wow.
So it's just, yeah, it's just so great. But anyway.
Last question is, what advice would you give to girls who are competing now, girls who want to win their state competitions, girls who will be at Miss America, at the 100th anniversary? What advice would you give them?
Well, I think it's important that no matter what you're doing in any competition, is that you want to give it your best, and you need to enter a competition, like I've told my daughter and so many other people's, with something more than just getting a crown.
Okay.
When they say you're all winners and everyone laughs and goes, yeah, the real one is the one who walked away with the crown, there's some merit to be said about that.
Okay.
And I think that you have to have more goals and more things on your agenda than just coming home with the crown.
Right.
And that's when you have felt that you have done your best. I think it's really important for the young women competing today to treat every appearance like it was their first and only appearance that they'll have.
Okay.
That I think that they need to treat the people. It's important to spend time, because all those people that reach out and want an autograph.
Mm-hmm.
I remember hearing from people, other, representatives saying, oh my gosh, it's so hard, Kaye Lani, you sign your name over and over again. And you answer the same questions over and over again. But when you think about all the people that would trade shoes, especially if you're crowned,
Yes.
that would trade shoes with you in a second, embrace every single moment, make every single moment count. And if you come home and it's not with a crown, you still have to enter each competition wanting to learn something about yourself and becoming better than when you walked in. And just embrace the opportunities that it brings you. And I think sometimes we get all caught up in getting very disappointed when we're not the one whose name is last called.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is really gives you, it's a disservice to yourself. Because you're not always going to come home with the crown. And I lived it, I learned it. And it's, just being able to enjoy every moment. And that's why when we started this conversation, the first thing I thought of is I was so blessed that every pageant that I competed in was a great experience.
Right.
And I have to say it was because, probably truthfully, I entered it with a clear mind, with not too many expectations. I just wanted to leave as a better person than when I walked in and entered. And I wanted to have friendships. And that's the most important thing, I think, is just, being able to do that. And then you really feel like, what, just wasn't meant to be, or, oh my gosh, now I'm representing more than just me.
Right.
When you take that crown to the next level, you think about all those women who were with you, because, you represent them too. And that's how I felt as Miss America. And every city I went to that year, I mean, my girl, my state sister, 80% of the time, maybe more, was there to greet me. And that's why we're such close friends.
Right.
Because it is such a great group. And so that's kind of, I think, what I would leave you with is, that, and to thank the sponsors. I want a big thank you to the sponsors and the volunteers, because it was a time of my life. And I'm just so extremely grateful for all the dedication and the commitment and the gifts given to, to make Miss America who she is today. COVID-19 threw a lot of curveballs, but, I'm very excited to celebrate the 100th anniversary, and looking forward to celebrating it with my Miss America sisters, my state sisters, and my local sisters. So I just am really, really excited and grateful. And just want to thank all the volunteers and the fans for their support too.
I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your time. I thank you for talking to me today, and I'm sure everybody watching, enjoyed getting to know you. So thank you. I'm going to close out the show with the audience, but you can stay on, and then we can talk more after the show is over.
Okay.
To the audience, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the show. Like I said earlier, please subscribe, click the notifications bell. My future guest next week, I'm interviewing Chantel Krebs, the interim president and CEO of Miss America. I'm interviewing Carol Giss, Miss USA 1990, Miss America 1979, Kylene Barker, and Miss America 2001, Angela Perez Boracchio. So, thanks for watching again. I hope you enjoyed the show and continue to support the show. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.